Hi, we're Cathy and Garrett Poshusta from the Grit and Polish, and this is our one-room challenge. Yeah. We live in a beautiful old farmhouse in Ellensburg, Washington. You chatting? Now you gonna chat? We live in a beautiful old farmhouse that was built in 1912, and it's located here in Ellensburg, Washington. We renovate old homes here in Ellensburg as well as Seattle, and we are also landlords.
We're also involved in a little thing called the Grit and Polish, which is a site where anyone can find tips and tricks for DIY, for renovation, and it's grown into a real resource for DIYers.
And so it's really turned from a passion into a job for us. I'd always wanted to buy an old fixer, and when we finally got to do it, I realized I loved it even more than I thought I would. Before we started the one-room challenge, this room was really dark and really dated. The carpets were in pretty rough shape. The walls were a deep kind of taupe color. The windows had these crazy drapes on them that the last seller left.
The drapes were just over the top. Yeah. They were not good.
Yeah, and so it gave us a really great excuse to jump into the one-room challenge and redo this space.
It was her idea.
For sure. Once we decided to do the one-room challenge, I put together a design mood board, and then we went from there looking at products and designing out how a blog post would flow.
Yeah, unbeknownst to me, my work in this room came with like a pretty definite schedule, and so once I got going on it, it was like, you have to have this done by this date and this date.
We are pretty organized. I was a construction project manager in my previous life, so having schedules and budgets and deadlines are kind of my thing.
Her thing, not mine.
The very first thing we did
was
move those drapes. Yeah, those were gone.
Yeah, so we got rid of those so we could paint, and then we painted. So we had the carpets down to, serve as a drop cloth of sorts, and then we got the carpets up and did the floors. So when we pulled the carpets up, it was like Christmas morning. Like literally, these floors were in pretty good shape, so we knew that they were going to finish out nice. It was going to be great.
Yeah, we actually really love the two-tone. I think it really worked out. And the natural floor finish really works well with all the brass in here. I found a really cool antique side table, and I really wanted Garrett to put a marble top on there. So he learned some new DIY skills in cutting and honing marble. And then to match it on his side, I asked him to build me a shelf.
Cutting marble is not as hard as you might think. You do have to have kind of the right tool, but it's a standard diamond blade on a skill saw and a little bit of water. Be prepared to get very messy, but you can do it.
And it will save you a ton of money. We're putting marble in everywhere now, because it's awesome.
One thing I did try to get in here was an animal kind of head, like a shoulder mount above the bed, but Cathy didn't really go for it, so.
I am all for that, but right over the bed, it just feels weird. Like you would be laying down and looking up at this. Anyway, didn't work out. So this bed was a good find. It's from the Restoration Hardware outlet, and it was marked down insanely because it was just missing slats.
I'm a big fan of the upholstered headboard. It's awesome, it's so comfortable.
The rug is one of my favorites. It's the Skyline rug from Rejuvenation, and I had been eyeing it forever, so once I jumped into the one-room challenge, I bought it right away. It was maybe $800, so it wasn't cheap, but it's wool, it's a natural material, which is something I try to always buy, and so hopefully it will last a very long time. I love swing arm lights, so these brass ones are also from Rejuvenation. I knew right away that I wanted to use those, and then we bought cord cover from Amazon so that it hides the cord all the way down to the nightstand, which is a nice touch, I think. I made a seating area by the windows, which is perfect to read at. Unfortunately, we have 3 young children, so we don't do as much reading as we would like, but someday that's my goal.
Unfortunately?
We love them though. So we put in an oversized, comfortable chair, lots of pillows and throws, and we have books there for someday when our kids are older and we get to read.
So Cathy, had this idea to get this fireplace in, which would have been awesome. We never really came to the point where we found a mantle that would work and look historic with the room.
Even though we couldn't find a fireplace for this space, we ended up with an antique hutch that I really love. It has all of our linens, and it takes up about the same space that a fireplace would, so it turned out really nice.
Every once in a while, when we're in Seattle, we make a pass through the secondhand stores. And one time we actually found these theater seats that Cathy thought would be really perfect for the entryway in the bedroom. And the cool thing about these is that the seats do fold up, so you get a nice walkway if you need it.
And the color of the wood really matched our molding, which was really nice. So I love birds, so I found a bunch of these vintage postcards and picked out birds that were local to the area. My mom's a big bird watcher, so I called her and she helped me pick out a few. I would say this room is welcoming, historic, and traditional to a country farmhouse. Yeah, I hope everyone can have a space like this, a quiet space that's just their own, away from the world. It's really special. We are so glad that we did this room for the One Room Challenge. We really couldn't be happier with it.
It's been awesome sharing it with you, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you for coming to our farmhouse and checking out our One Room Challenge space.